What a monstrosity.
So if you're wondering what these creatures are, I can't blame you. But I do have some context. Back in 1992, a toy company named Kenner took on the Jurassic Park line, and oh my god, did they do Jurassic Park right. They made toys of the T-Rex, Velociraptor, Triceratops, even figures of the Gallimimus, Utahraptor, Parasaurolophus, and even more. But in 1997, Kenner made a toy line for the new Jurassic Park Chaos Effect line, which was going to be based off of a future animated film or animated series about these new chaos mutations, which of course will be viewing such dinosaurs from this line, such as the Ankylorhinodon, a hybrid between Ankylosaurus and the mighty flying pteranodon. Margos Spinus, a dinosaur that has a Margosaurus and Spinosaurus DNA. Compsognathus, which had DNA of Stegosaurus and Compsognathus, and surprisingly a bullfrog? And the two larger electronic dinosaurs, that being Paradeinonychus, being Parasaurolophus and Deinonychus DNA, and possibly the main star attraction of the show, the Velociraptor, being Velociraptor and Archaeopteryx DNA. What a mouthful. So right now, for the first figure, I'll be looking at my least favorite. This ugly thing that actually was a real hybrid. As you just saw on this bonkers figure, the tail is sort of broken off. Now, I do have some context to this. So when I picked this guy up, not only was the tail chopped or bitten off, but the mechanism for the action feature was completely torn out. I have no idea why that is, and I'm very mad about it. See, there was this button right here that you would push to make the tail swing back and forth as an Ankylosaurus-like motion. It even had a little clubbed tail, which I believe might have been doing it a bit too much. If they did it any further, it'd be looking like more of a monstrosity. Other than the gimmick, the face is freaking massive and terrifying. It starts off with a normal nose, and then it goes to a beak. That is very surprising, and I kind of like it. These raging orange eyes, along with the giant head crest, along with the mouth, which only has one black tongue, and the rest of the mouth is just covered in white teeth, which I think might have been a design fail. This thing looks like Rodon, but drunk from head on. But besides that, moving on into the body, it is very frail, but the legs are nimble and ginormous, including the feet, which were probably used to pick up other action figures, which I think is a very nice touch. These wings, man, the wings, they're over a foot long, and look at this. They're detailed, they're nicely painted, and even the rest of the armor is covered in a nice purple color with some black osteoderms, which I think is also a very nice touch. Kenner was a very bonkers line, but at least they treated their figures like they were made of gold. The paint job on this guy is very vibrant, just like some of the other figures in this line that we'll get to in a minute. But let's get to some articulation first. I currently don't have a phone stand on me, so I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. So this guy's articulation, he has articulation at the base of his neck, so it can swivel back and forth. The wings are surprisingly on ball joints. They can go up and down, and even swivel all the way around, which I would like to demonstrate, but I don't have a freaking phone stand. Ah! And the legs can also articulate. That's it. Now let's move out of the way from this flying green bean and move on to the next one. This hybrid with a face that only a mother could love. This creature is hideous. I love it. Paint has a lot of black and red and some tan in there, which I believe that black and red go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's just so good. From this very grotesque looking head going down the neck, we have some very beautifully painted spines. This guy has a bit of paint damage, but don't worry about that. And going down the back, there's these spines that go all the way down to about the tip of the tail. And the black goes from the head, down the neck, to the tip of the tail. Nice. Even the red on the face goes all the way down from under the chin down to about the bottom of the neck, which I think is very nice. The toes are painted, kinda, and yet they're also sculpted with some knee wrinklage in there as well, which adds a very nice touch. And each of these figures has JP and a certain number on them. Like this guy is 58, Paradeinonychus is, what, like JP 49, and Enyo was like JP 53, so... And they even have this little DNA thing at the bottom, which is also pretty neat. So yeah, besides a bit of some random paint splotches everywhere and this weird seam at the tail, it's very nice, and I do actually quite like it. Let's go to articulation. This face is scaring me. His front leg can go forward and back. It's very stiff, but I'm not surprised. This leg can also move back and forth because it's also very stiff. This leg can also go back and forth, but this leg is a part of an action feature, which we'll show in just a second. So this, when you pull this leg back, these spines will go up, these spines will go up, and the mouth will open. Just watch. Ta-da! This is all it does. I do like the pattern of these spines going up, and then the next spines going up, and then the mouth opening. I do like that pattern. I could do this all day. When this dude's mouth is open, Jiminy Christmas, dear Lord, I don't like it. But overall, it has a good gimmick, and it's a good figure. Now let's go on to the last of the small ones that I have. If you have a kink for tongue action, then this figure is for you. I mean that literally. This thing is genuinely interesting in many ways than one. So the Compsognathus, again, what a mouthful, has a very interesting sculpt and a paint job that I genuinely like for some reason. With the bright blue from the head, the yellow stripe going down from the head all the way to the tail, and even on the underbelly where this pukey-like green goes into that blue. I think that is very clean. The teeth are yellow, and the eyes are a beady orange. Once again, there's this weird orange bit in the middle, which we'll get to in a minute. But either way, the sculpt on this guy, I think, is very narrow, and yet I do kind of like it. He does look a little chubby-cheeked from the front, like he's a chipmunk.
Squeaker squeak, motherfucker!
This guy's JP number is JP49. I don't know if these numbers mean anything, but they're just there. His feet are nicely painted and sculpted, along with his hands and his claws, which are in two separate positions, by the way, which I think is very nice. Even the yellow on these dorsal plates right here is also very nice. There's the very annoying orange switch, again. He does have detail, mostly on like the face and rib area, but other than that, that's all this guy has. Now let's go on to articulation. So his legs can kick back and forth. As you can see, his tail can rotate, but I'm not forcing that. I'm not. I don't want to force that. This leg can also go back and forth. This arm can go up and down, but in order for him to stand, I have to like push this leg up, which also pushes that arm up. And this arm can also go up and down. The mouth can open up. That's also because of the action feature. You can see that his tongue in there is weirdly shaped. That's because it's supposed to grab onto action figures, as you'll see in a second. So there's this orange lever. All you gotta do is push it forward. Ew. You can even see bumps and stuff on the tongue, which is extra gross. Don't worry, if you don't like the tongue, you can just hit this button right here, and it retracts, just like so. Neat. Let's see that tongue action one more time. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's press the button to retract it one more time. Clean. Very weird and kinky gimmick, but yet again, a very cool figure. So now let's get on to the big guys. Oh, yeah, that's what you've been waiting for.
Squeaker squeak, motherfucker!
Paradynamicus! Sorry about that last bit. This is definitely one of the most vibrant and yet one of the most coolest figures I've ever seen out of this line. I'm being absolutely genuine when I say that. At first, I thought this part of the tail was broken, but then I learned that this is actually a part of the figure, so that's kind of cool. Starting at the very grisly head, we can see there's some very nice teeth sculpted in there. When we open the mouth, there's a painted tongue. This is nice dark purple. The eyes are, yet again, are beady orange. What is with Kenner and beady eyes? That are orange, apparently. There's the head crest with some black on there, and some very nice purple and black striping going down the head all the way down to the tip of the tail. Very nice. Both the toe claws, dual claws, and finger claws are painted. I forgot to mention this guy's hands are webbed, so that's very interesting. The only real rubbery part of this guy is at the neck, which is very squishy and rubbery, which also leads to the gimmick. We'll get to that in a minute. He has these little holes on his back, and that's because he has a sound gimmick, which is also something we'll get into in a minute. Jesus Christ, give me a minute! This guy's number is JP54. Yet again, I still don't know what these numbers are for, but I guess they were meant for something. This guy has some very nice details, like the nostrils are sculpted in there, along with the little crest right here being detailed. The rubber having some scarring detail, which is also very nice. Some weird ribcage details, some muscle detail, even some slight details on the claws, which is very nice. And even the bitten off tail has some nice fleshy detail. Could this be used as dino damage, I wonder? Overall, this guy is very nice. Now let's go over his articulation. There's only like 2 points. Those are his legs that can kick forward and back on both sides. Yay. His arms, mouth, and tail all articulate, and that's part of the action gimmick. So let's get into that. So you gotta like pull his tail, and So you see his arms go up, his mouth opens, and his neck stretches back. I'll probably do a voiceover of this sound, like, in just a second. But as you can also see, you can also rotate the tail, and the neck moves. Which you can also do, like, when you're doing the roar. So, I'm still doing this with one hand. Give me some credit here. I don't have a phone stand. You can also just move the arms up to do it. Which I feel like just could have been easier. Anyways, the Paradeinonychus is a very nice figure. Now let's go over probably the most popular figure in this entire line. Hey, ta-da-da! What the hell is this thing? Yeah, so before we get into it too much, this guy's wings has a little bit of damage. Like, this guy's bit of the wing is missing, and almost half of this other wing is missing and broken off, which I'm very disappointed about. But hey, it's still in a decent condition. Oh, dear lord. So these claws are nicely painted. These nice two claws are painted. These ridiculous wing things are painted and sculpted very nicely, but why do they look like this? This is almost like a skeletal, like, thing. Ugh. These very long and very sharp toe claws are painted, which I do appreciate, but they look a little sharp. His teeth are painted nicely. There's a tongue painted in there. And he has a nice red eye of rage. There's this nice red striping going from the nose all the way down to the tip of the tail, where there's also this very nice feathering. So, looks like Kenner was getting into the feathering with this guy, which I think is an improvement. And also these little spindly hairs on the neck and back are nicely painted and sculpted. And there's even a little hole right there, because this guy used to be electronic. Sadly, this electronics in this guy doesn't work, unlike the other guy. Sorry, buddy. Other than that, he's mostly solid plastic. His tail is a bit rubbery, but I don't like pushing that too much. Either way, he has some very nice details along his rib cage and the arms. He was very grimy when I first got him, so I had to kind of clean him up a bit. He still has a bit of spots on him, but he's still much cleaner than he was before. That's going to do it for about paint and detail. He's mostly just one solid color. Now for articulation, he barely has any. Only this one leg articulates, which the head, arms, and one leg are part of the action feature. We'll also do it right now. All you gotta do is pull his leg back and... Yep. That's all he does. Moves his head up. And just, well, that's all he does. It's very annoying that the hands can kind of get stuck on the head sometimes, which is very annoying. But hey, it's a very neat action feature for the time. The late 90s specifically, but hey, it's fine. This is what he looks like when I try to get him to stand, because if I try doing it, like, anymore, like, he'll either just fall over like that, or he just looks very awkward. So the only way I can really stand him is like this, which honestly gets kind of annoying, but hey, I'd rather pose him like this than just have him fall over like that. I guess I'll play you what he's actually supposed to sound like when he has sounds. Like, one of the roars sounds like he's saying, uh-oh, but it's kind of comedic that it kind of sounds like that. Those are some of the very crazy, bonkers, and yet kind of cool figures from the Jurassic Park Chaos Effect line. Thank you all so much for watching, and when next we meet, we'll be looking at the 12-inch figures of Godzilla Evolved, Scar King, and Kong for the Godzilla Kong the New Empire line. I'm sorry if I'm doing this late. These figures just came to my doorstep, and I just thought, might as well do those. But in the next video, probably sometime early next week, I'll do these three, which will almost be the conclusion of this toy line, because I just have the RC figure to get, which I already have, and then there's that other diorama set, which I have yet to get, which I don't know why I got that. Anyways, see you guys next time. Peace.